So in this video, I'm actually going to be talking about the 3 different types of emotional leverage that you guys can use to generate high levels of motivation, to allow yourself to be far more disciplined and consistent, and also give you the ability to take the necessary amount of action it will take to achieve your dating and self-development goals. Now, for a lot of you, you want to become more confident, you want to become more charismatic, you want to start dating higher quality women, goals that you find ridiculously attractive. You want to become socially free, you want to become that guy. And if that's the case, you're going to have to go through a pretty big transformation. And self-development is something that's going to have to be one of your biggest focuses in life for a while. And if you're trying to learn a lot of this self-development stuff through the endeavor or the process or the action taking of cold approach pickup, then you're going to realize very quickly at the very beginning of your journey that this is quite literally probably going to be one of the most difficult things that you've ever actually tried to do or to achieve. And for me, learning success with women has been by far the most difficult thing that I've ever tried to do. And that's why I'm pretty passionate about this particular video, because I feel like if I didn't actually learn how to utilize different forms of emotional leverage to generate high levels of motivation, I wouldn't be where I am today. So that's what I want to do in this video, is teach you exactly how to leverage yourself to take consistent action to actually achieve your dating and self-development goals. Cool, so let's jump into the video. So 3 types of emotional leverage. It's very simple. We have negative emotional leverage, we have positive emotional leverage, and then we also, on occasion, if utilized correctly, financial emotional leverage. But let's focus on the main 2 for now, positive and negative. For me personally, negative emotional leverage has been by far one of the biggest motivators that's allowed me to push through the most adversity and also allow me to take very consistent action over many years to end up, having the level of success that I've had today. And it's very simple. There's been periods in my life, especially at the beginning of my journey, maybe in like 6 months or 12 months, maybe in the first couple of years of learning cold approach, things are really tough. You're getting rejected all the time, you're finding yourself in a variety of different social situations, you're taking on a lot of social pressure, you're experiencing a lot of highs, you're experiencing a lot of lows. There's just adversity left, right, and center. And it's very frustrating because at the very beginning stages, the return on investment is quite low and you don't start to see a lot of tangible success for a few months of taking consistent action, which can be very difficult and very deterring. So for me, what I had to do is I had to utilize negative emotional leverage. And this is how I did it. So let's say, for example, one of my main goals was that I was never satisfied with the types of women that I wanted to bring into my life. I also wasn't as confident as I wanted to be, or as charismatic, or as socially free. It's always something that I wanted to be. I just wanted to be fucking this loose, cool motherfucker that dated the hot girls. And I was far from that when I first started. So what I did was I took consistent action over a few months, over a few years, to reach a certain level of success. But during the periods of adversity, when I was going out and getting rejected countless times, more times than I'd like to admit, I was going on dates and getting friend zoned, or I'd be going out to clubs for 5 to 6 hours, 3-4 times a week, and just not seeing any results, getting girls' numbers and them flaking on me, or just telling me that they had no fucking chemistry with me and just putting me basically in the friend zone. Man, that was super fucking frustrating. And I think most of you guys could probably relate to this if you've tried to actually focus on this particular skill set. So what I would do when I reached points in the journey where I was just like, dude, why in the world am I putting myself through so much pain? Like, why don't I just jump back on Tinder? Why don't I just try to optimize my profile? Why don't I just try to ask God or the universe to try to help me manifest a cool chick into my life? I'm sure I could get lucky at some point. When I reached that point of complacency, I had to sit back and ask myself, okay, Alex, just before giving up, ask yourself this. Alex, if you got to 40 or 50 and you looked back at the last 20 or 30 years of your life and you never achieved the dating goals that you desired, for example, to become more confident, more charismatic, to date the really attractive women that you always wanted, the girls that you liked in high school that you could never have, never had the ability to have the different sexual experiences or the level of sexual diversity you'd like to experience, or the abundance or the control or the options that you wanted to generate, how would that make you feel? And it would be the same answer every single time. I'd be like, fuck it, I'd hate myself if I reached to 40 or 50 and I felt that way. My self-esteem would be lower. I would feel like I wasn't on my purpose as a man. I felt like I wasted a lot of my life. And the thing is, we only have one motherfucking life to make this shit happen. And the thought of not achieving my goals generated so much pain emotionally that at that period of wanting to give up, when I was facing the most adversity and the most rejection and the most frustration, I'm like, nah, you know what, fuck this shit. Like, I don't care what it takes to reach my goals, I'm just gonna put in the necessary work. And that's what you guys can do as well. It's like when you feel like just staying on the couch instead of going out, when you see a pretty girl and you know you should approach, but you're worried about rejection, when you know that you need to put in the necessary amount of work in terms of reading books and focusing on self-development content, but you just would prefer to watch Netflix or watch TikToks or Reels, ask yourself, it's like, dude, in 20 or 30 years, if you never end up achieving a lot of the goals that you set out to achieve, how would you feel? And you feel like a piece of shit, then good. I'm glad that you feel like a piece of shit. That's what's gonna generate the leverage to then actually go, you know what, fuck this, I'm gonna get off my ass, I'm gonna go out with the boys, I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna approach that girl and take the necessary action. So basically, when you feel like shit, put yourself in an emotional state that creates more pain than what the pain is that you're experiencing in that current moment, by literally looking at your future as a potential failure. That's how I would do it. Now, the secondary form of emotional leverage, which is also very powerful, is positive emotional leverage. So you can just basically do the reverse. So what I would ask myself at the exact same time when I was feeling lazy and complacent and wanting to give up, it's like, okay, cool, I would go into negative emotional leverage. How would that make me feel? Make me feel like shit. So then I'd be like, okay, cool. What can then generate more motivation? Because negative emotions are like one thing, but positive emotions are really that's where it's at, because that's actually what gives us the true drive. That's why we try to achieve anything in our lives, is because we want those good sensations within the body. So I would focus on actually reaching my goals. How would it make me feel if I had control? How would it make me feel if I was confident, if I was charismatic, if I was that really cool guy that had many dating options, was dating like the really attractive women that everyone else wanted but couldn't get, but I was the one that actually had access to them, was able to date them, build connections with them, to have that sexual diversification, to have those options, to have that level of abundance. And I would always reach the same emotional state. I would feel amazing. My self-esteem would be high. I'd feel more confident. I'd feel like the fucking man. I'd be like, you know what? It was tough. I put in the work, but it was fucking worth it. And now what I've done is I've utilized negative emotional leverage to give me that drive, then also added the positive emotional leverage to give me that really big push and that extra motivation to go and take the action. And then usually at this point, because I put myself in a variety of different emotional states and kind of tried to distract myself from that levels of complacency in terms of just wanting to stay on the couch and stay at home and not go out and focus on the things I need to focus on, it would usually give me the motivation and the leverage to go out there and take more action. Now, there's actually one more thing that you guys can do as well, which might not be optimal for everyone, but I also would highly recommend it because this is also something that I did. I also used financial emotional leverage. So for me, I actually went out and hired a dating coach. I wanted to become more confident, more charismatic. I wanted better dating options. I wanted to have more control. I wanted to learn a framework that gave me the consistency that I desired. So I found someone that actually had reached the goals that I wanted, and I paid them. And I paid them a substantial amount of money. And because I'd actually invested a decent amount of cash into this particular area, I knew once I invested, I wanted to see a return on my investment. Back in the day, I used to work in the mining industry and I was working like 12, 13 hours a day in a job that I fucking hated. And it was difficult to save up this level of money to invest in myself. And when I think about it, it's like when I was getting lazy and I didn't want to go out with the boys to go out and do some cold approach, meet some girls at the club, or I'd see a cute girl on the street and I knew I needed to go and approach, but I just kind of felt like, you know, I wasn't in the mood to do it. I'd think to myself like, bro, you just spent thousands of dollars on coaching. Do you really not want to take the action that's necessary right now and waste all the money that you had saved up over a long period of time to just not do the thing that you're meant to be doing? And I think to myself, I'm like, yeah, you know what? It would be such a waste of fucking money if I just didn't fucking do the thing. So because I invested in myself, I also was able to generate a high level of motivation on top of the positive and the negative emotional leverage to then actually go out and take the necessary action. Also, something else that I did was I also spent roughly $20,000, $25,000 to travel the world for an entire year straight just to get this particular area of my life handled. That's the level of dedication that I actually had to get the dating results that I wanted. And that also added more emphasis on that financial emotional leverage. Now I understand not all of you are going to be in a situation like this, but I'm trying to explain to you the level of motivation I had, like how strong my why was to get this area of my life handled. And I want you guys to do the exact same thing. If you have approach anxiety, or you have a fear of being rejected, or you have a fear of, you know, pushing past your comfort zone, just ask yourself, again, negative emotional leverage, how would you feel if you didn't do it? Your self-esteem would be lower, you didn't keep yourself accountable, you'd feel like a failure, you'd feel less confident, you'd feel like you didn't have what it took to actually reach the goals that you were desiring to experience, and you feel shit. Good, feel shit. Use those emotions to give you that little boost. If you did see a girl and you had a fear of being rejected, or you had approach anxiety, you knew you needed to push past that resistance, and you asked yourself, how would I feel if that particular girl, because she's a stunner, right? I'm sure if you see this girl on the street, she's cute, you want her in your life. If you were to meet that girl and she was to be your girlfriend, you were gonna have like an amazing sexual experience with her. You were gonna have like a really deep connection. She was gonna be the mother of your children, and it was guaranteed. How would that make you feel? Probably feel pretty fucking good, right? So do it. And it's the same as like if you're really wanting to achieve crazy levels of success, you want to have more sexual experiences, more dating options, you want to create complete abundance, and you really want to take this shit to the next level in terms of having complete control, boys, you're gonna have to put in a lot of work. It might take 6 months to a year, maybe even a few years to reach the level of success that you desire. And during that period, you're gonna experience a lot of adversity. So during that period, dude, just use negative emotional leverage, positive emotional leverage, and at times for the people that feel like this could also work for them as well, use financial emotional leverage. Another little tip that you could do if you don't have the money to actually invest in, say, coaching, which can be quite high ticket and expensive for some, but yet you still want to try to utilize the 3 forms of emotional leverage. It's as simple as this. Let's say you go out with some buddies and you have issues with approach anxiety or taking a lot of action, or maybe you want to go out every single weekend for like a 3-month period. What you can do is you can say to your buddy, hey bro, every single time I see a girl that I find attractive and I don't approach her, I have to give you $50. Or for another example, hey bro, I plan to go out every single weekend for the next few months. Every weekend or every day on the weekend I don't go out, I give you $100. This then will keep you more accountable, because you know if you don't get off your fucking ass when you're watching Netflix, or you're being lazy, you're not putting in the work that's necessary, dude, you're gonna lose $50. You might even lose $100. And if you keep up that behavior, dude, you're gonna end up going broke. So this is another way that you can actually utilize a little bit of financial emotional leverage too, without actually investing in coaching for the guys that aren't looking into that right now and might not have the capital to invest. So that's basically what I would recommend for you guys in terms of actually generating much higher levels of motivation, being more disciplined and consistent, and actually putting in the necessary work. Use emotional leverage. Cool. If you guys have enjoyed this type of dating and self-development content, please leave a like, a comment, hit the little notification bell, subscribe to the channel, and leave a little comment in the comment section. We always appreciate the love. It helps with the algorithm. And maybe for the boys that want that little extra kick in terms of motivation and want that extra like accountability, then feel free to book a free consultation call with us in the description below to book a call with either myself or Ben for any coaching inquiries. But until then, boys, see you in the next video.